Hi, Zoe.
Hi.
Thanks for doing this interview for Inspiring Northeast TV. It's really good of you.
No worries. Thanks for having me.
Do you want to just tell us a little bit about you first and what you do and how you help people?
Of course. So I am First Participant Engagement Coordinator, and essentially my role within our company is to engage with learners and young people, and to help them with their leadership and progression routes, and also their skill set. So First is an entrepreneurial skill development agency focusing on that leadership progression. And we work with people all across the region and nationally. We work with young people, old-ish people. We work with the people of any ages, along with people who have started a business, and people who are maybe just a little bit interested in enterprise or entrepreneurial skills. The professional like myself, the intrapreneur as well.
All right. So what age are you starting at? Is it 19 upwards?
18 upwards for our current projects, but that does change all the time, based on what projects and the need that we have. Because the company's been going for 7 years, and the various projects we've delivered has allowed us to hone our skills, and we've pivoted this year into delivering level 1 qualifications in enterprise and business accounts. But we also have other projects that focus using enterprise skill development as employability tools. And that is for various different ages as well. So at the moment 18 plus, but previously we've delivered projects to 10-year-olds in schools, and we do a lot with all 5 regional universities to support their enterprise departments as well. So yeah, just a case of keeping up to date with what live projects we've got, but we've always got opportunities in some shape or form for young people to come along and take part in some of our projects and just attend really and be present.
Just going back, that's fantastic. Going back, you used the word intrapreneur. Can you explain that?
Yes, of course. So I can't take credit for it, although I'd like to. But I'm obviously employed by First, and I'm not self-employed. And I think there's this misconception that entrepreneurial skills and enterprise is a convoluted academic way of explaining self-employment and running a business. And I fundamentally disagree. I say I'm very entrepreneurial, but I'm an intrapreneur because I'm employed, and I like having that wage slip at the end of every month. But my skill set is in the last 10 years, I've developed skills in identifying opportunities. I'm basically a sales and account manager, and I've worked in different sectors. And that relationship, networking and building is fundamental to most businesses' growth and innovation, and my creativity from that. So personally, I am an advocate of the skills that enterprise will help develop and understand and showcase and explore will help you achieve your goals as a professional, regardless of you being involved in a startup or starting a business. And it also helps, going back to digging deep within enterprise, it really helps you explore yourself and understand who you are. And again, looking inside, defining the entrepreneur within you, seeing what skill set you have, understanding that skill set, and then learning, how to develop them and move forward. So yeah, I am the entrepreneur.
Good. So thinking about the Northeast and COVID and unemployment and where we are, why do you think schools are not teaching young people these skills as a matter of course? Why are we having to start at 18 and 19? Or I
Yeah.
know you mentioned you do some work earlier, but how come we're in a situation where these skills are taught at 18 and not to everybody? Because
Yeah.
they're basic, aren't they?
Fundamental and so important. And I think a lot of it around the fact I don't think obviously we know there's a problem in terms of what skills are being developed because we exist. The ideal world and the dream of the future is that agencies like First don't exist because no one needs that additional support and development. And I think a lot of what's potentially lacking is sometimes the language around stuff, going back to that misconception of, entrepreneurial skills. I think a lot of what I've come across in terms of the stumbling blocks with a lot of academic, what's the word? They're not modules. What's it called in a school again? My mind's gone blank. Curriculum. Yeah. That's it. And I think sometimes the language, just it isn't quite as clear of what's needed to be done. And a lot of that's why we manage to adapt projects that we've seen a high impact on, and seen people increase confidence, and seen them develop their skills and move on to become more employable. We've been able to work with schools and trusts in the region to be able to develop them. I think you could go on about your opinion of the politics and what's wrong with with academia as a whole. I don't think that education failed me. But I do think that my skills started to develop when I was hired in a corporate organization, and I was kind of sent off to go and start talking to people. But then I also had the confidence to it. I'm really lucky, and I'm aware of that privilege. So I do, we're aware that my network and nepotism, I had that luckily. And that's kind of where First steps in, where for the people who don't have that, who don't have the mums and dads that have all of that, and anyone who's in a situation where they can't really have that conversation about starting that business because someone kind of scoffs and goes, what are you on about? You're not going to run a business. And we see that all the time. And it's kind of, you just need to be around people who will have similar conversations. And we use the word like-minded peers a lot in a lot of our projects in terms of connecting the right people and bringing you together on the same wavelength. But yeah, I don't think there's just one problem. I think there's many.
I think what you're doing is fantastic, because it is giving those young people a chance. I mean, it's interesting in the Ofsted framework that every child has to be given an opportunity to be prepared for the world of work. It's there, it's written, and to what degree they're getting that support, I'm not within schools enough to know whether that's happening. I'm sure there's brilliant stuff happening, but it's for every child. So it's and the other thing, my hobby horse is leadership isn't specifically outlined in that.
Correct.
Being prepared for world of work, whereas it is in the private sector, but that's a different conversation.
Yeah. No, definitely. And we've had the luxury, as I say, of working with schools in terms of filling that gap, and in terms of the career departments not potentially having helping people see beyond their horizons. But that's what there is stuff out there, which is what's I think the best thing about the Northeast is that we've identified the problem, and I think as a community-led organization and a very community kind of feel with our social goals, we are so aligned with so many other organizations in the Northeast that complement so lovely. We talked through to the job centres a couple of weeks back, and I was just talking through kind of one of our projects at the moment, and I just paused and kind of did a quick debrief of this is the landscape of enterprise in the region. And I actually just felt a little bit overwhelmed by that, because I was like, how wonderful that we do have all this support, and that it is there. Sometimes it's difficult to find, and sometimes there's you have to weed through and find the prince out of the frogs, but there is a lot there. And I think regardless of age, there's so many organizations doing such wonderful things with young people, even if the schools aren't. I do think that there's a lot going on, and I'm guessing that they don't have the money to hire in all these externals like ourselves, which would be amazing. The work we've done has been through a trust in the past, but that might change. I think COVID's going to do some wonderful things in terms of people realizing the humanity and that the communication element. I think people who maybe have lacked that skill set have probably really struggled throughout the pandemic.
So from your experience then of the young people who you're supporting, and obviously they may be more disadvantaged and don't have the parental support, as you've said, what are the key skills that you think are missing? What are those main skills that you're having to sort of supplement?
I don't think I could answer that confidently. But what I could say is on the other side of it in terms of the impact. So I know that what First has done over the last 7 years has had a really high impact in increasing the confidence of people that we've worked with. And I had this years ago. We had this, I think it was a Santander report that I read, and I remember our chair Caroline mentioning that it said that the Northeast has this kind of low aspiration mindset, which is just really upsetting, that people don't think they can do it. And I suppose, well, if you don't see it or know about it, how can you think you can do it? You can't, if you don't see someone relatable in front of you that is achieving great things, how can you relate, to Alan Sugar and all the other outstanding entrepreneurs on the telly, Richard Branson, you can't watch that and think, oh yeah, I'm going to be like that. But there's nothing relatable. So, I think that's
a big gap in between, doesn't there?
Yeah, huge. And that's one of the things that we've always tried to break down with First. It's like, show people who are succeeding and doing amazing things to, that are far more relatable for that journey. And I think just that opening people's eyes, and like I go back to the phrase before of allowing people to see beyond their current horizons, has just seen an incredible impact in terms of people increasing their confidence. And then through the confidence comes a natural uplift in skill, because when you're confident about what you have and you can see what you don't have, you then will start that personal development and turning, everything that you've got in your head into more of an action plan as well.
Well, hopefully some of I've got about 30 odd inspiring Northeast TV interviews, all of people who are doing great things in the Northeast, adults. So hopefully there may be some amongst those that might help a young person. That's the intention anyway.
Yeah, definitely, 100%.
A role model, or just an idea. It might spark an idea of.
Definitely. Well, but this is the thing, and this is why, one of the things that we're focusing on with the new direction of the company, with the qualification that we deliver in enterprise, that's more around understanding yourself via enterprise as a tool. So it's kind of, this is what enterprise is, and running a business is all of this, but let's just take a step back and think about you and what you've got, and identifying your skills, and then identifying that leadership and progression and what's lacking. And the impact of that course, we've only run that since September. That's been the main project I've worked on recently. And I've saw people who were long-term unemployed for 3 years, only in early 20s as well, so I'm talking still very much on the young person scale of our region, taking the step forward and starting their own business.
Right.
And I've never been more proud of someone, and just more in awe of them just taking every opportunity that we put in front of them as a collective organisation, and all of our partners and friends. We have loads of support from other organisations, and it was just outstanding. But we've seen other people get the confidence after being made redundant to, I can do this. I've got something to get up to in the morning. Of course, like, being made redundant is low. It's awful. But we've also seen people who are about to graduate from university, unsure of where to go next. People who have done a few different things in a career, accidentally or not so accidentally ended up in a certain career path for however many years, and then thought, you know what, this is not right for me, But I think sometimes people do it for so long, and like someone told them, well, I know I got told at school, you can be a receptionist or a hotel manager, and it's like, that's not the only roles in the world. So these people are in a certain sector, and they're just screaming to break out of it, So I think that's a fundamental part of it all, is just, allowing you to spread your wings. And
I mean, you hit the nail on the head about confidence, because it's not only confidence to do that, but it's actually about minimizing the fear of not having any money coming in. That's massive.
It's a huge risk to go self-employed, absolutely massive. And it doesn't always work. I know people that have done it, really struggled, move back in with parents, that kind of thing. But if you are young, and there's the likes of the Prince's Trust and EY and organizations that give you grants to start a business. So you go through entrepreneurial skill development with them, and you kind of get that confidence. And if you're still at home and you're kind of just thinking about work at the age of 18, or even younger, I've come across entrepreneurs that are 15, 16 with their first ideas. you can start exploring that idea really young. And it can all be hypothetical, or but yeah, side hustles is where it generally starts for the likes of I suppose my age group.
Well, with Musilience, we can start with babies.
Yes.
For parents to interact with children, and
Definitely.
it can start very, very early on, just to
Yeah.
build those skills gently and carefully throughout. Yeah, it doesn't have to suddenly happen as a teenager.
No. Well, parents lose themselves as well. That's a group of people that we've tried to engage with in terms of, you're not just a mum or you're not just a dad. You can do other things and, explore, and, it is available to everyone. But yeah, definitely the youth of our Northeast, based on the employment rates, need more help.
Yeah, no, that's great. So thinking about even in my peer group, I mean, I know lots of people around the Northeast, but say, for example, artists.
Yes.
Who produce absolutely fantastic work, and so often you don't have the confidence or the skills to promote and sell. It's like once something's created, that's it. And there's something about self-esteem, value, and worth that you need in order to actually sell the products or whatever you've created.
100%.
So obviously, you're a very confident young person. Where have you got your confidence from and your skills, your skill set?
My network. I going back to that first bit of, I've been incredibly lucky that, I had a mum who was incredibly driven in the career that she was in, promotion after promotion, but she also dabbled in different things and then, found her own. My dad's an entrepreneur. I've been around him for obviously forever. Uncles and, other members of family as self-employed or freelancers. So I'm in that privileged bubble of being around people and seeing my family have great success. I do have another side of the family that maybe wasn't as privileged, so I saw both sides of the coin, in terms of, kind of struggle and success. But for me, it was very much, because of that wonderful family network and that strength, it enabled me to build that professionally. And I was burnt though, because when I first started working, I just instantly took everyone at face value and trusted everyone. That didn't kind of go in my favor with my first corporate role. But yeah, it's just, I suppose that resilience came from a sales background as well. And I am so thankful of, knocking on doors at 18, selling Sky Telly, exactly. Yeah. So all of that, working in a call center, selling gas and electric, then people that everyone now hangs up on, go away. That was where my resilience built. And then my other roles from that started building up from the resilience to everything else. And, but understanding your self-worth and your confidence, but you also need to develop the skills. You can't just be confident in the fact that you have no skills. Mm-hmm. You need to be very self-aware and that personal development. There's always time to learn and take in and sponge the information. And as a young person, they're such sponges at the moment anyway.
I think reading other people is a key skill, and what's important to them and what they want and what their aspirations. Yeah, definitely. So you're doing fantastic stuff. So how can people help you as an organisation?
So organisations in the Northeast can help us on our mission to develop entrepreneurial skills in everyone by simply, getting in touch. Organisations we can come in and help develop your staff. We've done projects in the past where we've gone into large corporations and we've worked with new members of the team, maybe people who are newly qualified in a certain sector, and we've helped them develop their confidence and network and skill set and kind of a business development theme. So we've very much how we can help in that mission for that. We've also, our qualifications are currently fully funded. So anyone over the age of 19 that lives in specific postcodes in the Northeast, with more being added all the time, that can support as well. But for us, it's very much around, we've identified that in terms of businesses in the Northeast need entrepreneurial staff within their leadership roles, and they need them skills developed regularly in order to achieve growth and innovate. And at a time where innovation is so important, we want to help you achieve that goal. And it's just a case of having a bit of fun with your staff. So we've got loads of different stuff on, going with, we're super busy as a team. And there's just loads of different ways people can get involved, even if it's just, signing up to the newsletter and hearing and sharing what's going on and sharing the good news stories.
Yeah, excellent. I was just thinking about skills. I was reading about Timson's and the CEO of Timson, Sir John, and he says we've only got 2 rules in this organisation. One is look the part, and number 2 is put the money in the till. I thought
yeah, very good.
I thought it's great, and then everything else you can do what you want. But
yeah.
Anyway, so well, is there anything else you'd like to tell us about first?
I don't think so. I think I've covered on a lot of it. As I say, we've got lots of different stuff going on at the moment. I'd love to speak to anyone who feels that they might need to develop, or if they're interested in what I've said about the entrepreneur stuff, I'd just love to have them conversations. Any organisations that can help us, spread the word and get more people involved in our qualifications. Don't be shy. We're a really fun bunch. And if we can help in any way and add value to anyone else in terms of their structure and supporting enterprise in any way, then we'd be more than happy to chat.
That's great. So I'll add your website on here, and hopefully it might attract a few more customers, because we really need it in the Northeast, don't we? I mean, just imagine if everybody had that skill set and the attitude and the confidence. I mean, we are a dynamic, fantastic place anyway, but
force to be reckoned with, I think.
Absolutely, yeah. So thank you very much today. Thank you, Zoe. Bye-bye.
No worries. Bye.
Bye.